Hello everyone, Nigel here with you again, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and this is a video concerning a little bit of an issue that I feel I'm partly to blame for. But you know, by the by, it's sorted now, it's done and it's sorted. So, if you remember a little while ago, I sent this little bundle of bits up to Alistair up at Aerocraft. For him to make a brass nose gear, because everybody was telling us that the brass nose gear was extremely weak. So these are the parts I sent up to him. I sent him obviously the main undercarriage leg itself. I sent him the actual arms that support the undercarriage, the little oleo scissors, this thing here, whatever it is, can't remember now. And then we've got this actuator spring here, which would probably be best replaced with wire, but whatever. I also sent him the wheel because, as you can see, it's a rather unusual design that Hong Kong models have made. And basically, they have a couple of large lugs on here. And then in here, you've got like a D-shaped hole in one side and a round hole in the other. So basically, it goes together like that. And you've got those great big lugs that go in the hole and you get the flat spot at the bottom. Okay, so that's all good. Right, so everybody said the nose gear was weak. So he and I assumed it was this part that was weak. As it turns out, you see what happens. Alistair wanted to get hold of a kit and he was waiting, as you know, the A20 Hong Kong models A-20G took forever to turn up. So I sent him the parts from mine, recorded delivery and everything, obviously because it's risky sending parts, especially from a kit that's been given to me. So I sent him the parts from mine so he could make the replacement parts. So I sent him all of this. Now he chose to only make this because he was led to believe that this was the weak part. As it turns out, it's the whole assembly that's weak, and this is a very, very difficult predicament that manufacturers get into. I've seen it with Bronco model cars, with the little I can't remember the quality. It's like a little opal thing. It's got the front suspension on that. It's made to scale with the wishbones and everything, but it is so fragile it can barely support its own weight. So this is the trouble. Manufacturers can either make things big and chunky and strong and everyone goes, oh, it ain't very detailed, is it? It's not to scale. Or they can make it all to scale and everyone says, oh, it's bloody weak, it's rubbish. So it's sort of, you know, rock and a hard place scenario. So anyway, this is what Alistair has made. So we've got a lovely solid brass nose gear with an axle going through the middle. You've got two sort of spacers there so you can use the kit wheel, or if you're using the Edward wheel, which is more accurate, then I don't think you need them. I can't remember now. Yes, you do. I can't remember anyway. But so there we go. If you've got this, hopefully you haven't started on it yet, because this here on the end, this bit here is like a plug that you would cut off. And what Alistair has done to improve the situation, he has made this. Now, I'll put a couple of pictures up in a minute. What's basically happening is this assembly goes together and is supported in the undercarriage bay. Okay, and this is all that's holding the actual leg in place, like this. Okay, so as you can see, it's very weak. And it's actually these parts that break. And no one told us that. We just assumed it was the nose gear that broke. I guess never assume anything because it makes an ass of you and me. So anyway, he just sort of considered the options. Now the obvious thing would be to do is make these little legs here, because these parts here don't matter. They're not part of the conversation. These are the parts that are part of the conversation. In fact, those aren't either, and neither is the wheel. So that can go as well. Come out. Okay, so these are the parts that are part of the conversation. So the obvious thing to do would be to make these out of brass, but then the trouble you'd have then is attaching these in brass to a brass leg, and it will be strong enough. Yeah, some people will say, oh, you could solder it. Yeah, great, but how many people out there are going to have the equipment and the knowledge and skill, whatever, to solder it? So there you go. He could have made it as one piece, so sort of cast it with those on there. Yeah, right, that's not going to happen. So what he's basically done is come up with this, and I'll put a picture up now of how it looks fitted. And it's up on his website. Go and have a look if you want to. And I'll put a picture of it now fitted. And as you can see, what it's doing is supporting the leg by use of this bung on the end. So that's going up in there, and that's going to support the nose of your aircraft. Now, some of you will say, yeah, but it's not to scale, is it? No, it's not to scale, but you've got an undercarriage leg that's strong. And it's not just going to collapse. It's basically this going to be supporting it now instead of these little flimsy pieces here. Hong Kong models and scale aircraft conversions have also made undercarriage sets for this, but all they've done is copied the plastic parts in white metal. So you're still going to have the problem of how you're going to attach these parts together and have them being strong enough to support the model. Plus, I've always found in the past the scale aircraft conversions undercarriage is very soft and pliable anyway, so I'd rather have this brass than that white metal. So there's another picture here. You can see what we do is drill a hole in the roof of the undercarriage bay, slot this in from behind. It says 5.5mm hole, and then when the undercarriage goes in, it sits in there and that supports it. So that's one way of doing it. Another way you could do it, which is something I will consider, I think, is drill down into here and put a brass rod up. Because what you're after, it's not so much support in this direction, it's you want to stop it, this twisting action, because the wheel, the nose gear kind of sits like on an angle like this, and it just wants to snap off. So so there we go. I mean, if you're gentle with your model, everything will be absolutely fine, but you know, you've also got the problem here of gluing the plastic parts onto that, which isn't ideal. But anyway, it's a problem that he's been made aware of. It's a problem he's recognised, and in true gentlemanly style, because he is a gentleman, he has responded. And you basically have 4 choices. So I'm moving away from the camera because I'm reading off the computer screen. So you can email. You got 4 options. A, please email me a new part. This is probably the most popular, and I'm more than happy to do my best to improve this set. So that's your choice. You can have him email you that part. Please email me an STL file. I can print the part myself. So if you have a resin printer, you can print the part yourself. I will request the part with my next order. Now, if you know you have an order coming up, you will save Ali the cost of postage, especially if you're away from the UK. If you know you're going to be ordering something in the near future, please wait and add that to your order, because it will save him the postage. This is costing him a fortune to get this all sorted. So add it to your order, but you must tell him when you make the order, you must tell him you want one of these. And he's saying D, there'll be a few that will say they'll make the support themselves. So as I said, I mean, another option is to drill into the leg and put like a 1.2 or a 1.5mm brass rod, so you've got the support to stop the leg twisting. And I think that's probably the option I will take, because at the end of the day, who's going to look up in the undercarriage bay? You know, really, are they? But having that thing in there isn't going to look great if you care about looking in your undercarriage bay. If you're not worried about looking in your undercarriage bay, that's going to be absolutely fine. So so there we go. So once again, we have a story of an error made, okay, which is all too common these days with the technology in modelling is getting crazy. We're requesting more and more scale and more finesse and everything, and with that comes fragility sometimes. So there we go. So as I say, it's another case of somebody making a mistake, identifying the mistake, putting a correction in place, and sending you that correction free of charge. So from my part, sorry, I should have sent Alistair the undercarriage bay and perhaps the instructions as well, and then you'd have a better understanding of what was going on. But that is basically all I sent him, along with the other parts you saw. And I guess he just assumed that this was the weak part, as I did, because that's what we were told. Anyway, problem solved. Thank you for watching, as I say, if you've bought one of these legs, get in touch with Ali, he'll sort you out. If you want to buy one of these legs, that will now come with the set. And there we go. So I will be starting, I keep saying it, I will be starting this kit very, very soon. As you know, I got onto Edward about their wheels. Their nose wheel is lovely. Their main wheels are too big, so they're resorting that. And they have also now offered to send me some more stuff to go with the kit. So obviously, rather than start the kit and then wait for aftermarket, which I've done with the Chieftain and the Scamel, I'm going to wait until I've got everything around me and then make a start. So it's probably going to end up being a winter build, isn't it, at this rate? So I'll see you all soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.